All right, I'm here in my house in Las Vegas with Andreas. He's a business owner, and we're going to do a mentoring session today. But in order to kind of give you an idea about who you are, maybe you could tell me a little bit about your business and about who you are.
How far back do you want me to go?
As far as you want. It's your session.
All right. It was, so me as a child is pretty much every person's struggle, right? Like super introverted. I didn't want to be called on. I didn't want to look at people. I couldn't even do eye contact. Like it was so bad. I would have nightmares of like the teacher calling on me in class. It was such an extreme case that in the eye contact with somebody else, like just thinking about it now, like you can see how it makes me feel. Like it's been such a long journey to get away from all of that. Like looking at somebody else in the eyes, that used to be completely, I couldn't do it. Like my eyes would start to just water. Okay. Just out of complete fear, out of all the things that I told myself in my head. Like it was that bad.
That's pretty hardcore, going from that to becoming an entrepreneur. Bad. Now you're facing not just your fear of people looking at you or fear of social rejection, you're a fear of financial ruin, destruction.
The funny thing is, like, now I think I thrive more under attention. My friends will tell me that, which is kind of ironic, but I've had to completely brainwash myself and reframe and restructure completely in how I think and how I act. Like something as simple as like me walking in and being comfortable to walk into it and to be at the front, something that most naturals in that sense wouldn't think about. I will already have been prepping myself for an entire day to make sure that that happens properly, to make sure that I'm in the right state of mind for that to happen, right? So for example, one like Owen's exercises when you're like, you stand out there and you just yell, you know, something like that where I'm like super in my head, I'll do something like that to let go, right? And then I'll walk into the room, and then right when my mind tells me, like it gets in my head, you know, all the little voices that you try to get rid of, I push right past that and I walk right to the front and I sit right at the front. The first thing I do is I introduce myself to somebody. I have to do these little things because naturally I'm the shy kid. Naturally I'm the guy in the back. And that's a big thing that I had to learn. Like understand where you're at, how you're feeling. Like you spoke a little bit on Founders Club as to failure. I thought that was an interesting point because as much as you're like, I'm never going to fail, you're only prepared to completely fail. And it's kind of that little balance where the failure is stopping, right? The failure is not getting up and trying again. But you also mentioned that you're completely okay with losing everything.
Yeah.
You're comfortable in your ability.
Well, I also have experienced it many times. Even building an RSD, we have lost everything multiple times. From the recession to joining, we also had people in play that could help us as a team build everything back up together, stronger and bigger than ever before. So I've very consistently done that. Throughout my whole career, we put it on the line again and again and again. I mean, I think that we're much better, me and as entrepreneurs, for say, being the maintainer of a large corporation just because we have always been from that mindset, creative mindset, and also that risk-averse mindset.
I'm going to link back to one of the questions I want to ask you in a little bit, and I'm just going to continue on the point because it's what you asked. So me now, where am I at now? So I went from all of that to consistently putting in daily effort to read and to learn. Like that was one of the concepts that was just instilled in my head that I knew that I had to do. If I could every single day be a little bit better than I was yesterday, I knew that in time that would stack up and that would add up and that would lead me to becoming the person that I want to be. And it was the biggest concept that I always worked on. And I always had issues like personally with myself, and most people do too, like comparing yourself to somebody else, right? You have this car and that's great, but then somebody has another car. And if we fall into that mindset, it's a very dangerous mindset. So I had to go away from like, what will my family think? What will my dad think? What will my friends think? And I had to look at myself in the mirror and go, okay, hold up. Are you better than you were yesterday? And are your actions at the end of the day the kind of actions that you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I did right by everybody? And I think that was one of the big turning points, and I had that at a younger age, luckily. And I'm raising a really amazing family. Like you, a lot more traditional values. So it's more like a Mennonite, German, Russian background. So they instill a lot of nice things, which have now brought me to where I am. So
Cool.
From there, I did a whole bunch of things. I did full experimentation. Like I kind of came to the realization that it's okay to fail, and you should fail as many times as you can, because you're doing something, you're moving forward, you're growing. So now I can probably say that I failed more than all of my friends combined. And I'm proud of that. You know what I mean?
Well, I saw a quote from Gary Vee today on his IG.
Love Gary Vee.
Yeah, I've known him for a long time. He had a quote on a picture that said, it's better to fail. You're better off failing than to not even try at all. I agree with that. The lessons that you'll learn from it and everything will elevate you.
And I've internalized that very, very, very hard. And I think the only reason that I'm here today, and what I consider like better, and I'm on my purpose and I'm on my mission, and I think that is strictly like attributed to the failures. Like huge part of that is because of the failures. It's because I took those risks and I made those jumps and I failed and I sucked. And I mean, there was a point in my life 2.5 years ago where I was $100,000 in debt. I got myself in $100,000 in debt. And that's crazy. And I think that's one of the most beautiful moments, because what that did for me when I came out of that and when I rebuilt myself after I locked myself in my room and I was depressed and I was sitting inside smoking and I didn't go out and do anything. I was just in such a negative downward spiral. At one point I woke up and I was like, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I think most entrepreneurs will like relate to that at one point. I always struggled with that drive. Now your day is open, what do you do with it? I'm not like, okay, go. Like I have to bring myself to that level. And it was a couple of years ago that I was even like, I don't have that many good days in a month, but the good days that I have in the month make the entire month. So if I can have 3 or 4 days that I'm like really, really good mentally, those days will completely make the month. And when I realized that I could make more of those days happen, like everything shifted around for me. And it was that little, because it was like straight up from like, I was divorced when I was 23. So I was married for 3 years. That ended. Then I started my business on my own, completely on my own. Now I got twice the expenses, no income because I'm out. It was the first 2 years of real estate. And then I'm pushed with all of the struggles and the pressures of that, and other people in my life telling me what they think I should do, and then hearing other little voices of what people have heard of me. That was a very difficult thing for me, because I had to just make sure that at the end of the day, you're not there to bash. You're just there to learn. You're there to grow. You're there to pick yourself up. And if you can look yourself in the mirror, and I bring that topic up for me because that is so important to me. If I can look myself in the mirror and I can say, you did right by yourself and you did right by other people, I think that was like one of the biggest points for me. And I took that around, and I think within 6 months after that, when I started getting into the right headspace, I was still broke, super in debt. I took that and I made my first 6 figures. Just over 7 months, and that's just getting you right. That's the. Everybody wants to change the world, but people struggle with understanding that it has to start with you. And I was the problem in many issues. Ego is a huge problem of mine, for sure. That's something that I had to consistently fight to work on. You know what I mean? Like, you're in business. You reach your certain level of success, it affects you in one way. And you have to almost like go, self-assessment. Where am I at? What's going on? And then be super conscious and super self-aware. Gary Vee talks awareness a lot. I learned a tremendous amount from him. Just understanding your mental. And he says like one of the things that he knows best is that he knows himself the best. He's very, very self-aware. And I think if you're self-aware and you can look at yourself and look at your actions, then you can go to work on yourself, and as a result, then you can influence and help other people.
Yeah, very well said.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about actually what your product and service is, and also that story. I'd be curious about how you were able to get out of that situation. And
oh, it wasn't easy. It was most days sitting inside and crying, going, okay, I got to do something. And then for me, the big task, like I baby-stepped the entire process. If that one day I got up and I got dressed and I got showered, that was an accomplishment. If I cleaned the house up a little bit, that was an accomplishment. And instead of beating myself up for all the things that I know that I should do that I'm not doing, we have that issue. Entrepreneurs, big time, right? You know what you need to do, you don't quite get to it, that gets in your head, and that starts to take up your mental time. And that's all that it starts to occupy, and you start to go into a negative downward spiral. So for me, I just said, okay, This is where you're at. Make sure you're better next day. And it was just the smallest little steps. The tiny little steps, like make your room that day, do the dishes that day. And as a result of doing that and adding, and it was like an immense amount of reading, all I was trying to do is like, okay, I'm negative, how do I fix that? I couldn't think clearly, so I started reading books and more books and more books, and as a result I started having a different vision of where I wanted my life to be, my relationships and my business and my influence. I started to get a clearer picture of what to accomplish. And just baby stepping it. It sounds so simple, but when you're trying to accomplish so much and you're down here mentally, you're not getting there overnight. You're gonna be at home crying. That's gonna happen. You're gonna be depressed. You're not gonna want to pick up that phone call. For me, some days it was like my dad would call and check up on me, and I would pick up the call. It was something that small. And he always encouraged me along that, and everybody knew what I was going through, and they were trying to be supportive in their own way. But I almost needed to completely get to nothing, to losing it all, to wanting to build that up and then to create a vision for that. So now what I got is I'm working as an agent with Remax. My sister, we have a great relationship now, which is super happy. So she's my assistant, she works for me. She has been for the last year. My brother, Julian, he's getting his real estate license. He's 19. When I come back to Vancouver area, he's gonna have his real estate license. Thomas, he's 16. And I bring these guys up because this is one of the things that has helped me more than anything. I could admit failure to myself, but I couldn't have them watching their older brother be completely destroyed. That's not what I wanted. I always wanted an older brother. You know what I mean? I wanted somebody that could show me the ropes, and I had to learn all of those things on my own, which I'm very, very, very grateful for, by the way. But now I got my 16-year-old brother and my 19-year-old brother, and trying to create a team dynamic together. And for me to do that, I have to level up. So that's one of the reasons that I'm here. You know, I left what I knew and what I was coming with and what I learned to come here to see what I don't know. Because if you're starting a team, and my team's small right now, you know, if you're starting a team to build a foundation, and if we're going to be working together as a team successfully, a family team, you know how difficult that can be, right?
Yeah. I actually used to work with my brother as well. He used to do customer services and sales. He was in charge of graphic design, and he was doing IT with my brother. I never worked with anyone else, but you know, there's definitely some interpersonal
big time
differences from working with a family member than working with somebody who's not.
Yeah. No, I struggle with that too, because now you go from you're an older brother to now you have them working alongside you. And I don't want to have that boss mentality in any way, shape, or form. I want it to be that the potential in them and I can help them bring that out. I want to see it as a partnership. I don't want to have any titles in any way, shape, or form. So with my sister, one of the things that I do to create that, and I read that in a book, I don't remember what book it is, but I give her absolute freedom in her job and full responsibility. So I'm not checking in all the time, what are you going? I've not once checked in on her hours. Not once. That's not my job. She does what I can't do exceptionally well, and I'm just here to encourage her and to build that togetherness environment where she has my back and I have her back, and I can help her and she can help me. And I think that was huge things that I learned, especially with, well, let me put it this way, I want to have the team around me, the people that I'm closest with, I want them all with me. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, what's the point of learning all of this information if you can't help the people that are closest to you? I invest heavily into them, and as a result, I get better, and I want to get better. And then it turns into like an upward spiral. And I haven't had those very sad and crappy emotions. I've had those days, and I've had it for weeks, but it's shorter and shorter and shorter as time goes on.
Well, the thing about being in business with, say, your brother also, you're in a situation now, or with any family member, where you kind of are needing them to succeed because you're part of the family. And I don't know, my family mindset is that you need your family to be successful. So now you're kind of required to be successful.
Well, that's the first thing. No, I like that. That's the first thing that I was working on. I wanted to build the relationship. And when you have the relationship, then you have the trust. And when you have the trust, then you can help and add input.
Yeah. I look at Owen a lot like family. So when I'm doing business with him,
I talk about that a lot. I love that.
He's more of a brother than a business partner. Yes. So when I do business with Owen, I want him to be successful. I really want him to whatever he needs, have all the resources, have the anything he wants, and I trust him completely.
As much as you can.
Yeah, and whenever there's an issue or a challenge that we have to face together, a lot of it is fixed by, crazy ideas, and it requires a lot of trust. And we do that all the time, every week. Yeah. We're actually working on a product launch for him now.
Which I'm excited to hear all about.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
It's coming out next week. It's called RSD Hot Seat Mastermind.
Yes.
I was in Los Angeles earlier today working on that.
Yeah.
Hiring team members for it.
You just fly out for that day to add the input, to get the team support and the dynamic, right? Like what?
Yeah, I flew out there because we had a 4-hour meeting.
An insane amount.
I do.
You do.
Every single week.
You even mentioned you'll fly out to, what was it, Iceland or something like that. Where was it? You flew out for a dinner, right? With friends or with coworkers, I'm not sure where.
Well, I do that all the time.
Right, so that's.
I'm going to every single week for the next 5 months, and then I'll take summer off from this. But I have to fly to Boston. I have classes at Harvard, so I have to go do that every single week, and also on the weekends.
You started that last year, didn't you? Going to Harvard.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and I also have to go out to LA, going to LA for business meetings all the time.
I absolutely love that. You're going to Harvard now, and just that idea I love so much, because you have invested over $1 million in self-development into yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
That's amazing. That's one of the goals that I thrive for. You know Ty Lopez well.
I know him.
You know of him.
Well, he's really good friends with my business partner Owen.
Yes.
I've hung out with him because we had him speak at the summit, and I heard from his marketing team that much of his first $1 million just came from RSD customers, from him going to speak at RSD seminars, RSD Free Tour, and RSD World Summit. And now he does his own events and has his own business. It's huge.
Before I leave, I'm
huge
going
global
to
company.
My goal is.
Well, he has masterminds in Los Angeles, so you're free to sign up for any of them.
Oh, and I'm going to get there. Yeah. I'm really excited for it.
I think they're $300, and they're at his house in the Hollywood Hills.
I'm in.
And then he has coaching sessions too.
You know what I really like about Ty? So Ty is he's spending over $100,000 a month on coaching in himself, and I find that to be incredible. That's just such a fascinating idea, to be able to spend over 6 figures on yourself and personal development. To get to that point, to do that.
Mastermind groups can be very expensive.
Yeah.
I've recommended people to go to mastermind groups. If you have a business, it helps fund it.
Yeah.
But you could also be a part of cheaper mastermind groups at first. You don't need to be a part of all of them.
Yeah.
Spending $7,500 a weekend or $25,000 to join a club and doing it consistently, to hang out with all the people that are writing the books, doing the coachings. That's one thing. You learn a lot. You make contacts. I mean, many of the people you'll see in my YouTube channel are from groups that I did invest that $1 million education to meet, hang out, become friends with, and now share lessons in business and life together.
Yeah.
But it's because of doing that, I've been able to develop systems that have probably made me a lot more money than that.
I love that.
Now, you read these books, and you'll talk about Ty, and he reads a lot of books.
Yeah.
I very rarely read books now. I usually will read books only because of Harvard.
Okay, gotcha.
So by reading books about business, if I'm trying to learn something about business, I'll just call someone on the phone.
Yeah.
If I want to learn something about music industry or what have you.
Sorry to interrupt. How do you learn the best?
I personally learned the best from interacting with somebody.
Right.
So I could get that question answered right away, as opposed to reading a book where I get their story. And I'll read books. I mean, I have all sorts of books here and downstairs in our library. I've read a lot of those books, probably half of them. Mm-hmm. And we have half of the books I haven't read yet. My wife's read them. But I think that these books are great. Yeah. I really appreciate the books. You got me a book today.
Well, this is hilarious. So nice little honest plug for
Grant Cardone. Thank you for the book.
You're welcome.
You read this book, yeah?
Yeah, I've read most of his books. Cool. I love the guy. So if you guys aren't following Grant Cardone, you got to do that. I have him on Snap, and I have Ty Lopez on Snap, and I have all the RSD guys on Snapchat as well. And I love that. It's one of the reasons that I followed Ty. We'll get back to Grant. One of the reasons I followed Ty is he was doing so much in a day that it made me feel bad about how little I was doing. And that's exactly why I did it.
He does work hard.
He works extremely hard. He does a lot of things. He accomplishes a lot.
On the phone.
Yeah.
Want to learn something about music industry or what have you.
Sorry to interrupt. How do you learn the best?
I personally learned the best from interacting with somebody
Right.
So I could get that question answered right away, as opposed to reading a book where I get their story. And I'll read books. I mean, I have all sorts of books here and downstairs in our library. I've read a lot of those books, probably half of them. And we have a half of the books I haven't read yet. My wife's read them. But I think that these books are great.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the books. You got me a book today.
Well, this is hilarious. So nice little honest plug for
Grant Cardone. Thank you for the book.
You're welcome.
You read this book, yeah?
Yeah, I've read most of his books. Cool. I love the guy. So if you guys aren't following Grant Cardone, you got to do that. I have him on Snap, and I have Ty Lopez on Snap, and I have all the RSD guys on Snapchat as well. And I love that. It's one of the reasons that I followed Ty. We'll get back to Grant. One of the reasons I followed Ty is he was doing so much in a day that it made me feel bad about how little I was doing. And that's exactly why I did it.
He does work hard.
He works extremely hard. He does a lot of things. He accomplishes a lot a day. And Grant Cardone, well, I'll let you guys look that up. Grant Cardone is incredible for getting your mindset and your headspace and all of that right. For sure, in the areas of sales and selling and why you're in selling and what your intentions are in selling. And he really helps you to think bigger, to plan bigger, and to believe in yourself that you can do that. You know?
Yeah, and I think a lot of the things have helped me when I didn't really have a business, to go to masterminds or go to events where influential people were participating, was to volunteer. I'd volunteer for the staff of the event.
Yes.
Now we do that all the time. We get people who volunteer for us and they can get closer to us, but I was volunteering for all sorts of people, everyone from presidential candidates to presidents of the country, to governors, to senators, to business people, CEOs and executives at companies.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of in and of itself is an internship, but it's also kind of like a mastermind. I have a lot of friends who will volunteer for the registry table for events. I volunteer for giving people camera gear for exclusive events that people can't get access to unless they were a part of this original group of founding members of this club. And it was something that I always wanted to get access to. And I just volunteered for the AV department through friends. And I found out that they need AV gear. So we volunteered our AV gear because you have so much of it. Now I got to hang out with these people. Just volunteering is a great way to do it because a lot of people don't have the $25K to drop on these masterminds.
I don't realize that either.
I mean, a lot of masterminds you get for like $1,500 for a weekend. There's one at a mansion in LA that we have, Owen's House, that we're going to do a mastermind at next week. And be full of influential people. It's for Saying, Speakers, Authors, Networking Group. And they have members like Jay Abrahams or Keith Ferrazzi, Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, Michael Gerber. But I mean, I volunteered my house so they could just do it there because I have such little time. I don't even participate in masterminds anymore. I'm just trying to reconnect with the people I've already met because I have so few time in the day.
The close circle that you have and invest further, right?
Yeah.
At your point, it gets to be quite difficult to connect with everyone. Like even one of the questions that I was asking myself when you messaged me was, why did I get that meeting?
For me?
Yeah, how did I end up here?
Well, I want content for my YouTube channel. So what I'm trying to do is develop at least 100 interviews.
Right.
And if I could finish that off and then I could build some new stories. And I want to do two things. One is I wanted to get a situation where I found out what people wanted, how they needed help, and kind of like resolve their needs. Not necessarily because I want to be known as like just a business coach. I'm a business owner.
But it's shifted over the last few years.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it has. I wanted to also reconnect with my old friends and also share the credibility that comes from association with a great mastermind group I've developed. The reconnection part allows me to learn, have my questions answered, and then also answer other people's questions. I built a really cool mastermind group, just from doing the videos I've done so far in the last 6 months. And it's growing. It's a growing channel, growing space. And we want to build a business side of RSD, but taking the in-field element that we've mastered, that unique skill set of going in-field with cameras and covert operatives kind of teaching you for pickup. We want to do that same thing in business.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm excited to see how you guys make that happen. That's going to be incredible.
We've been doing some fun test runs, doing it for real estate companies, for example, like BizNow. They have a huge newsletter in DC.
Tell me about that, yeah.
Where we went in field as undercover sales reps of their organization, and we forced ourselves as a team in interactions with CEOs of multinational real estate companies to try to close them on advertising contracts. But to do that, you have the same skill sets for pickup. You start with your cold walk up at a convention.
I love that.
You build rapport, connect with them, develop the commonalities, get them hooked into you and also your business and your ideas, the value proposition. Then you invite them to another meeting at the Ritz-Carlton, try to close the deal. But a lot of people will be afraid of the rejection of it. So you have to also teach them the inner game.
Yeah, no, that's crucial.
You were talking a lot about the inner game earlier.
Yeah.
And so what we want to do is develop this system of what we're doing. This is more of a sales skill set.
Right.
I could see us doing this for other things other than sales as well. But it'll be fun as we develop that business skill set. And we're building that business list. We'll have like a business version of what we have here now in RSD Nation.
People that are working for you guys, right?
As volunteers.
Volunteers.
So the interns are people that are working and dedicating themselves kind of full time, like yourself.
Yeah.
You were working with our sales team, and now you're working with Luke's team for video production, marketing, social media, and stuff like that, right? And you'll learn a lot of cool stuff. How did you find out about the internship originally? How did you get involved? And what have you seen from Founders Club and stuff?
Man. Okay, cool. Yeah, so when I was about 20, 21, I think then this, well, it goes back beyond that, right? So it all started with, it's either you want to get a girlfriend back, get an ex back, or you want to impress your friends or something like that. There's always a reason for wanting to jump into something like this. So for me, it was like I had a girl that I gave everything to, that completely shut me down and dated somebody else, and I thought we were a thing, and it was like that bad. I was like completely broken from that. And then it leads to like going on Google and typing like how to attract women. And then it started with a whole bunch of other things like Adam Lyons back in the day, Michal Mystery, all of those guys, right? And then get taught as a result of that is you get taught the foundations of everything. And it's cool because as time goes by, the reason that you started is not the reason that you continued. In my opinion, like for me anyway. So I started to growing and developing myself. And for me, that jumped onto, I want to learn entrepreneurship, and I want to attend different seminars, and I want to grow myself and my character and all of those things. And I want to learn influence and leadership and stuff like that. So all of that, I think the foundation of who I am as a person is largely attributed to RSD. And for me, I don't know, have you read the book, The 5 Love Languages?
Yes.
Right.
Great book.
It is.
Actually, I talk about that book all the time with my wife.
You still review that. That's amazing.
Yeah, we talk about which love language she needs, which is the words of affirmation.
Yeah.
And mine is physical touch. I know other people, they like gifts or maybe acts of service. Mm-hmm. And I think what's the last one I'm missing?
Time.
Time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, I think it's quality time. So for me, the best way that I know how to give, like I put a huge value on my people that I surround myself with and the people that I mentor and the friends that I have. For me, that is the biggest thing, to be able to give somebody quality time on a deeper level. Surface relationships bore me, to be quite frank. I have a hard time, if it doesn't go on a deeper level, to stay connected or the desire to connect further. I want to find out intimate details about somebody very, very quickly. To me, I find that to be very interesting, and I try to start that by being vulnerable first, and that usually opens up the gates, right? When you're able to be vulnerable with somebody, they see that, they feel that. And as a result, I end up having much deeper relationships, and I really, really enjoy that. And for me, so back to the 5 love languages, the reasons that I'm here doing this is time. RSD is one of the reasons that I have the foundations that I have as a man now. And the best way that I know that I can give back is time. It's incredibly difficult for me to leave my family and friends because we have such strong relationships. We've been working on this so hard. It's such an incredible family dynamic and relationships. Like, I am out with my friends or family probably 4 to 5 days a week. I visit my parents at the farm probably 3 to 5 days a week. I hang out with my brothers, and there's a lake close to where I live, and we walk that lake. And we do the books that we read, the things that we're working on, the character goals, little issues that we're having in life, and we do that together. And for me, that is so incredibly valuable. That time with them is so valuable to me. That for me to come here and do this for 3 months was difficult for that reason. And that's why I also knew I had to do it. I got these guys in my life that are looking up to me. So I have to develop myself and level up because they're smart, man. Young kids, they learn so quickly. When they have that desire to learn and somebody that's going to steer them the right direction, they learn so incredibly quickly. And I have to come here and learn more and to level up personally so that I can come back and give them more because they're catching up.
Well, I think that you're very right about the time thing in terms of also the value of it, because so many people are wondering where they can offer value to get the right mentors or become a part of a mastermind, and it is just putting the time. I mean, people just need anyone whatsoever to put their time in to help them out or just be a part of what they're doing. You know, most people that I know who have a ton of money, even though they have a lot of rich friends, will have a lot of friends that don't have much money, but they appreciate their time that they're willing to put in. They know that they're reliable, they're going to be there for them. And I think that in and of itself is a huge value.
Big time.
And I think that will be the key for pretty much anyone in business, not just their personal life.
Yeah, and I think time is one of those things. It also comes down to self-respect, right? When you value your time, you value yourself, and you understand your value a little bit as well. In that sense. Go ahead.
1 second here. That camera stops every 30 minutes. We have to actually do a camera check because the camera that I was going to use that doesn't require that. It broke 5 minutes before you came here.
No worries.
The tripod, the top of it broke off because we use it so much that we actually have to replace it. Okay, so now we have another 30 minutes.
Cool, that went quick, didn't it? Where were we here? On the concept of time and self-respect.
Yeah.
I think you valuing your time is because you respect yourself and because you know that this time that you're sharing with me is time that's away from something else. So how do you find that balance in your life? Right now you're at a different stage again, right? So you're doing a lot more coaching, and it's changing for you every now and then. And you're also going to Harvard, and you're studying and you're learning. And as time goes on, you have a different direction.
Well, I've dedicated myself to this, and it's kind of a mission pull project where I create the content for this channel, have fun doing it. And so I dedicated myself to that. RSD is full of systems that kind of are running and are going in a certain direction and just building itself, getting stronger. Whether it's the sales team that you saw that we're building here in Las Vegas.
That was an amazing experience, by the way.
Cool. And it's basically a bunch of these little teams and systems all over the world that are new and being built, and then new ideas come out of the woodwork. This is one of them. But I mean, a lot of those ideas that I got for creating these systems come from mastermind groups or other ancillary things, even just from doing interviews with yourself. It just allows me to clear my mind, speak it, you know, and I guess what you're saying, vulnerable, and then sharing that experience with other people. And I like the idea of doing that not just with one person, but several thousand people at the same time.
That's awesome.
It's kind of like being a speaker at a seminar. It's just that's a lot more casual, but a lot more people are watching us now than...
Your influence is greater, which is another reason why you're doing the YouTube, right?
I love the ability of scale and affecting people on a much larger scale. So that goes in line with my vision, which is to have this large company, and Owen's vision, which is to affect as many lives as possible.
And have you thought about writing a book?
I have.
You have?
Well, I thought of it.
Okay, I was like, I couldn't.
I have written books though.
All right.
But they were just fun things done for fun projects for school.
Got you.
You know, taking classes and you write a book and it's like a fun story. So it's more of a collection of stories.
The reason that I asked, so I was listening to, so Brian Tracy has a book, Good Leaders Ask Great Questions. And one of the guys that was close in his life asked him to write books, and he wasn't interested in writing books at all.
I'm interested in writing an autobiography later after we build some stuff up. I don't believe my story is complete. I don't think I'm going to write a lot of books. However, I am writing one book that I have to kind of work on, like many people, which is a musical book. Because a musical book is a series of stories, plot lines, and various other things, because the original idea that I had watching my music or watching my conversations on YouTube about music was to create music videos, hip-hop videos.
You guys did one too.
I did. That was with Nicole Arbor. We also had Tyler do something when we had Trey $, Wiz Khalifa do one, and Tyler's going to be in that video too. But what we're talking about now is actually having me rap So I'm learning how to rap from Eminem's rap coach, Roger Love.
Exactly.
And
so
Owen's learning from him too. But at the same time, if you go upstairs, we're building a music studio on the top floor of this house, on the third floor, with how to rap Drew. He also used to be an intern in operations, and he built over a couple of years this company teaching how to rap, so How to Rap School. But they became a celebrity in it on YouTube.
This is interesting. How did you start with that?
Well, I was interested in something that kind of shows that we are in entertainment, not just information. Infotainment is what we're in. And a lot of what we do, especially our humor, is edgy, is misconstrued by the mainstream and most of society that doesn't follow us regularly. So we want to change that.
Yeah.
Now, there'll be a movie. I believe that James Franco and Rat Mandini are producing it for the book The Game. That's just our first 2 years in business. That'll explain a little bit about who we are in the first 2 years of business, but there's a lot of people that we have in our company that haven't and aren't part of that journey since 2002. That's over a decade. Right now, it's a decade and a half. So what I wanted to do was originally create a series of music videos to make my YouTube channel fun. How to rap education for business, teaching business.
Okay.
And I created some of it. I did at the studio at the Palms, where DJ Khaled and a bunch of other people have made music. I've done that there. I did some awesome beats. We have an awesome beat maker. We have an awesome choreographer, famous YouTube celebrities, both of them. And also How to Rap Drew as well. But I decided what we want to do is have our whole story foretold.
Okay.
So have 23 to 28 song musical. You have to create a book, a musical, story plots, pictures, everything. So you kind of have the game plan. And then put together the lyrics and the beats and the dancing and put it all together for a performance that we're going to do live, and also we'll turn into a video that we can also post for people who can't fly down for the show.
That's so interesting. Like this.
Yeah. This is us revealing it to the public right now for the first time.
Oh, shoot.
World premiere exclusive
Thank you for sharing
news.
that. I love that. That's really interesting. I didn't expect that coming in.
You have Tyler rapping, me rapping. I'm probably going to get Jeff Joyen, and if you see my interview with Big Mike, I just talked to him today when I was at the mansion in the hills.
Yeah.
And he's interested in being a part of it. Other famous people that have been a part of our history that are not necessarily professional rappers. We have a guy who's interested upstairs in building a music label with us. This is us doing it for atypical people, CEOs of corporations that have inspired us, or other people who want to use this as a way to build their brand. So we'll do a test pilot first of how we're doing it and see how we're able to shape the RSD brand through music and rap. Because you're able to convey your personality, your image through these words and beats.
That's so different.
And so this is something that I'm working on for the next while, probably at least the next year or two. And it'll be really cool to see. So a lot of my networking recently has been with people like the guy who launched Dre's Beats by Dre, or P. Diddy's GM, or people who are producing YouTube videos on pop, famous YouTube celebrities or famous producers that are not on YouTube. In fact, I have this playlist on my YouTube channel now on the music industry of people that I'm networking with in the music industry. Because they have a lot to share for networking and mindsets for success as well. So I might as well take advantage of both the learning of how it's going to help us for the music world, and also how it's going to help us for self-improvement, business development, relationships, mindsets for success, networking, the stuff that we're going to be teaching in the business line, the higher purpose lines of Real Social Dynamics.
So 10 years ago, where did you think you were going to be?
I thought I was going to be growing RSD for the rest of my life, and it probably, 10 years was, right now it's 2017, so that was 2007. So in 2007, we were just launching, I believe, the Blueprint. I was living in Hollywood. We were having some awesome parties. We were having a great time, and we were building RSD. And I was in Los Angeles. I thought I'd be living forever. I'm probably going to actually live the rest of my life here in Las Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world that prevents me from traveling more than I should. But I have a great time here. And also, I think it's a booming industry. I have CEO friends from all over the world I've convinced to move here to Las Vegas. A lot of the entertainment world is moving here to Las Vegas. In fact, I'm meeting this Friday all day with Steve Aoki. I'm going to hang out at his house.
No way.
Yeah, Steve Aoki, Dan Bazarian, and my friends Brent, he's known as Backspace from a video I did earlier on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But it's networking and building relationships, all sorts of really fun and fascinating people.
Isn't that cool how the beginning of your journey and where you are now, and what that path has been like, and where it's led you to be, and who you are now as a person, and the people that you have in your life and the impact and the influence that you have as a result of that. So incredible.
Yeah.
I love that. And if you don't mind, I have a couple questions that I wrote down. They're a little bit more, they're a little bit different, but I wanted to pick your brain a little bit and get a couple of different ideas. In regards to RSD and yourself personally.
Let's spice it up. I love the surprise.
One of them that I wrote down is, what made RSD decide to give away free content?
Well, in order to get anyone to understand this esoteric product of ours, this unusual service,
right?
We charge them out though, yeah? So, I mean, there was always that passion of trying to help as many people as we could.
Right.
You know, and get us out there to be known to people. But I mean, yeah, the ability to release hundreds of hours. I mean, video content. You know, I mean, yeah, I mean, a lot of people spend money on advertising. We spend very money on advertising. Many months we spend nothing.
Camera gear.
Exactly. That's exactly what we do. Yeah. And if you look at us, what we do out there, we're just giving away a ton of content. Like it's like over an hour a day of new content every day.
It's crazy.
I mean, the only people that are not releasing the kind of free content that, you know, if you compare us to the next biggest provider, the next biggest provider are news networks. News networks will produce probably 5-10 hours worth of content that get released every day.
That's why you guys are dominating the market.
Yeah, I mean, there will be a point where we're producing even more content than these nets because we are right here, but we're growing. You're going to see a lot more of that content being released. In fact, one of Owen's ideas was to create a news network, being that for self-development in general and also having influencers involved. We have a massive network of influencers. Now, all these projects are under as we're still kind of stabilizing the final touches of RSD in terms of its dating branch. But there's a lot of really cool things that we're doing. Now, if you even look at some of the things we're doing in fitness, we're partnering with people in the fitness world, like Elliot Hulse, Brandon Carter, Grego Gallagher from Kino Body, business gurus like Bill Walsh or Larry Benet, the super connector from Forbes magazine's like top 25 most connected people on the planet. If you look at, say, what we're doing in Higher Purpose, we're bringing in really experiential kind of treatments, like what we did at World Summit, where we had a guy doing this gong blasting thing where you like let out your feelings. But he's like a famous guru and does that kind of stuff. And we're doing other stuff like that in the future. I wanted to also let people to say it and everything to show it. In terms of like the people that have inspired us, have influenced us and taught us that we could offer to the world. So I mean, if you look at our YouTube channel, some people, when we first created my YouTube channel, like, how do you have access to all these millionaires and billionaires and best authors? And like, it doesn't even like reality that you could actually learn from these people. But if you look at my YouTube channel now, I've done several dozen of these people, and they are people that have a ton of value to offer. Many of them are atypical, and they're teaching people. And sometimes you'll see guys who are on there saying, I've never done a video interview before, or some of these people are really shy. They don't even want to be on camera. I had one guy who's a billionaire video with, he was like, I don't even know if I could even do this because totally outside of his comfort zone. And afterwards, his investors reviewed and critiqued the hell out of my video, even after it got released. Well,
that's cool. I just really like the idea of you guys building that foundation. And that foundation was it was created on give so much value. And it's interesting too, because your videos are extremely long. So the people that are bought in, they're really bought in.
It's fun too. And we also travel all over the world making these videos because we're doing seminars and events anyway. So we might as well have a streamline where we could also help a lot of people that can't even be there.
Of doubling down on exactly what you're doing.
And it expands the market of it. Our word of mouth is huge, and it allows more people to come into our pipeline. We have programs all over the world. I did a world tour, 270 cities in 6 months. Did it in about 70 countries. Now we're doing business regularly in all of them.
That's so
but
crazy.
We couldn't do that unless we had that internet presence. We offered a ton of value all over. If you look at our free, better than most companies' paid content. I was talking to a guy. He's like a celebrity who does famous projects with the likes of Jack Canfield and other people. And I was talking to him about his project. He says, I'm going to have like a 5-hour video course. I'm going to sell it for like $5,000 to $10,000. It's going to be awesome. I was like, well, I give away that stuff every week.
But people don't understand. They don't understand that. They're looking at it like, how can I capitalize every little thing that you're doing?
Yeah.
And that's not what you guys are about.
But if you go to our course, there's a lot more value that you don't just have in video. So we have membership sites where you get access to maybe 30, 40 hours of video and surprise opportunities to hang out directly with the instructor, live events, phone apps, you communicate with them directly, social media groups for Facebook, you directly ask questions with them and the other people who've dedicated themselves, because you have in these groups the people that are most dedicated out of the students, teleconferences, webinars, all these things that are very personalized, and it's time. It's what you're saying that you feel is love. Love language you appreciate the most. We're putting our time into it.
It's such a simple thing, but it's so different than what everybody else is doing that I absolutely love it. Like, that's part of the reason I'm asking, hey, camera gear, like, what should I get? Because I want to do this exact same kind of thing. As a result of giving in time, everything else will grow. Your business will grow. The people that you connect with will grow. Your influence will grow. But people always look at it like, what can I take right from the beginning instead of what can I give? And especially in business, you have to give for a very, very long time before you start to get something back.
Yeah, we have.
I noticed that for myself.
Even just in this house alone, we have hundreds of thousands of dollars of camera. But we have camera gear all over the world. I mean, we very much so spend money on camera gear more than anything else. Just upgrading the quality of it. I mean, we're like a video production house.
I know.
Love for us to create something for Netflix, make a Netflix original, because I'm such a fan of Netflix and all the free content they put out there. I have friends who've done that too. They put some movies and documentaries out there on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I could see us doing that as well.
I think it'll be interesting to see where you guys take this in the next 5 years. For sure.
We have a great story, and we also have a lot of lessons to learn. You combine the two together, you have infotainment. And so you have all that in our seminars for free, RSD free tours in all the cities around the world. You go to rsdnation.com for groups. You have a list of Facebook groups. You join it when a free tour comes to your city, you're notified.
That's what I started a couple of years ago as well. Yeah. And just the amount of pure value that you guys were giving got me into the right headspace where that's what I wanted to do. And as a result, I didn't want to keep watching the free videos only. I wanted to actually pay, and I want to pay for your product, if that makes sense, because I'm so sold on what you're doing and how it changed me that for me, it's not enough to just watch it. I want to be a part of it. I want to contribute.
Yeah.
The least that I can do is pay.
Yeah, if it's not time, contribute to our vision and mission. I know that Tyler, he walks down the streets of Los Angeles and he'll get stopped by 3 to 5 people every block. Random people just walk up to him and hand him money.
Yeah.
I get random checks in the mail.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can't cash them because they're made out to Tyler Durden.
Yeah.
You know? Or just Tyler, nothing else afterwards.
That's hilarious. No, but you've created that culture where you've given so much in so many lives. That you've changed the inner games of everybody else as well, where now they're doing it for the right reasons and they want to give back and they want to contribute and see how they can do that. And that's part of that upward spiral. And I love that. I got a couple more for you. For you, I want to know, how do you get buy-in and understanding from your spouse? Because you're doing business, there's times that you're going to come home, dinner's just going to be made, and boom, you might be off. How do you get buy-in to the point that it's understood and she's so much with you on your purpose that it doesn't become an argument at home when you come back?
What we used to do is we used to track this stuff with KPIs, key performance indicators. Okay. We had a week. We would sit down and analyze where we were in our goals together, and then tracking whether we're on track, kind of like an accountability coach for each other, for business and life, personal, regular date days.
Right to the relationships.
Yeah, but at the same time, we don't do that anymore. Now we just have we kind of have a path. We have weekly date days.
Yeah.
We have business kind of like aligned in past real estate videos, and so she requires awesome cameras.
Yeah.
We have awesome cameras. We also have similar desires for furthering education. So she would decide to go to Harvard, and if she's going to Harvard, I might as well go to Harvard too. So I decided to do that because I'm going to fly with her because we travel everywhere together.
Okay.
We also work from home most of the time, so she's with me most of the time. I am working.
You're able to build that connection despite what you're doing because she is a part of your purpose for it, right? Because not a lot of not like from my family's background anyway. So my dad handles the business. My mom has been handling like the payroll, the taxes, that sort of thing on her.
Yeah, she doesn't do anything in RSD itself, but I could help her with her goals and desires, just finding out what they are by talking to her often.
That time is
one
together.
thing. But we also do activities together every week. Fun stuff we might organize. She might organize one week, I might organize the next. And so we have that common goal. When I told her I was going to create a musical, she goes, "Oh, there should be a love story. So I guess I should learn how to rap too and be a part of that." I said, "Oh, that sounds good. That makes sense. Just do whatever it takes to get success."
That's interesting, because a lot of people say when you get so busy you don't have time. What I realize is time is one thing. Is it depth or is it breadth? So when you spend time, you can spend 20 minutes with someone and go so deep and connect so well that their love tank is full and overflowing so that they can give back as well.
Yeah, and viewing the emotional banking, or what you call the love tank, is useful for every aspect of life. Whether it's your business, personal life, or family life. So when we are in mentorship forums, masterminds like EO or YPO or what have you, you focus on all three of those elements, business and personal life, and tracking the KPIs and lessons that you share and learn with these 7 to 14 other people, depending on how big your forum is, you decide.
I love how you track it.
And then you build upon that. So first of all, you have a sheet, you track your goals for the month.
Right.
Now, I did this every single month for almost a decade. So I kind of like internalized it now.
Yeah, you've put it.
So I don't actually write it down anymore. yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, if I look at the hours I've spent in, say, my forums, just in forum alone, for like one forum, that'll be 1,000 hours for one mastermind group. And I've been a part of many mastermind groups. So just from the learning and going to school, I mean, if you just look at, say, like 10,000 hours of mastery, learn and just learning to learn for like a liberal arts education in general. You look at the hours that you spend in, say, like a typical class. In a typical semester, that's like maybe 150 to 300 hours a semester for the multiple classes you take that semester. You have 2 or 3 semesters, maybe 1,000 a year. So if you look at just the time you spend in education, in high school and elementary school, you're getting mastery over life skills. Liberal arts, that's why I think people put so much emphasis on that. But I mean, if you look at, say, like college, I mean, I've been in college for just as long as I was in those lower level schools. I mean, I went through undergraduate, followed by 2 MBA programs, followed by now studying law, followed by doing a certificate from the business school of Cornell for the hotel school. We were thinking about creating a hotel on the Strip, and we were running Vegas Immersion out of one for a while. And also, I was interested in creating a tech company that was selling rooms for business, conference facility, meeting rooms. And then also I took classes just for fun at various other colleges.
Well, that's what I appreciate. I appreciate the balance between, for you, the entrepreneurship side and what you're learning from your people, and then you're also doing the school thing. For me, that didn't work out. I went to university. I dropped out pretty darn quickly. I was like, this isn't for me. This isn't how I learn best.
Yeah.
Because for me, I would do school and I would go to business and I would do marketing and I would ask the professor, so how do you apply this to your business? And he'd say, I don't have a business.
You got to get. Some of it was luck in finding the right professors. So yeah, I mean, if you go to certain schools, professors are working in the field that they're actually teaching. I don't want to learn just from somebody who's read a bunch of books and they rehearse it from their research. Exactly. That's like learning business advice from a journalist that has a business show.
Yeah.
Now, maybe that same person has some business experience, but most of them don't.
No.
Most people get their news from the older generation, from these journalists that may not know what they're talking about. They're just reciting what they've read from others. In our day and age, we'll learn from guys who are the influencers. So we both Gary Vee, because he's an influencer. He's a television show or a news media journal.
He trades attention. That's his words for it.
That's a good way of, but I mean, we have all follow him because we have access to the internet now. So we're lucky. We have this distribution network that's allowed to defeat the bogus news and bad information that's out there. And you've already seen this happen through the presidential election, like Donald Trump, the whole media talking about him. He's still to win, whether you like him or not. Same goes with any other influencer that you want to follow. Yeah, you got the eyes on you, and also it just spells the people that don't have the credibility. You know, people who have the credibility will win now, and not for credibility from having a lot of eyes listening to them. Yeah, because now we have everyone sharing information out there, and I think that's what's amazing.
It's readily available and everyone can have it. It's crazy. So much that you can learn. And
You be in the poorest villages of Africa, but if you go to a local coffee shop that has free Wi-Fi, you can learn just as much information as the richest elite. You could get access to pretty much any tool you need to have an online company hustling in a jungle in the Brazilian forest as you can working in a mansion in the Hollywood Hills.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love it. Everybody has access to it now. It's just up to them if they want to do something with it.
Yeah.
Another one of the questions that I wanted to ask you is, you went through the last recession.
Yeah. There's another one coming very soon.
that's where I'm headed. So how are you preparing yourself and your team for what's going to happen? You got to learn from that.
I mean,
very hard way.
it's historically been seen that every 10 years there's a recession. I mean, that means that during Trump's administration, you could expect a recession unless he's like a magician. He does something. You're a friend of Larry's. I'm cool with him.
Give me 5 minutes to change clothes.
If he does that, he's the best president ever. I mean, it's not likely that's ever done. So
what are you doing?
What we're doing
yourself now, because you got. The beautiful thing is you. So excuse me. You went when you guys were just in the growth stage.
Yeah.
You had to conquer that. So
well, there's
now
the
with
systems
everything that you've learned-
that you build in that growth stage are the same things you keep building. Build them stronger, leaner, and continue to do that.
Forward.
So I mean, our sales team, for example, we're much larger, but we have multiple teams now.
Yeah.
And are focusing on hunting and building more cash flow. Reallocation of expenses and budgets has been huge for us. I mean, that's something that I was focusing on for a decade in mastermind groups, just trying to figure out how companies are able to manage their budgets. And I kind of have figured that out as we've, and a lot of it was starting off very lean and then becoming loaded and becoming very lean again. And it's a continual cycle. But now you have systems and structures that work for us, not going to work for everyone. Everything you do is custom to just your company.
Yeah.
Every other company can't replicate you. They can replicate, maybe a product or service. But if your company could deliver that product better, then you're going to win. And the other thing is we also are putting ourselves in a position of diversification. So we're talking about how we're diversifying other niches.
Especially lately,
Preparing for that, But also the financial side, building cash accounts and reserve accounts. That's something that we focus on a lot.
I think that's great. If you're building that now, then when it comes and everyone's retreating, you can go even further.
Upgrading our vendors,
More.
upgrading our partners, having backups to them. That's huge because you never know who's going to go out of business during a recession. During a recession, we were doing business with a company that did fulfillment and manufacturing of our physical goods. Our physical goods back then, included everything from books to
CDs.
binders and DVDs. And they lost a lot of people. So we have to reformat to a digital format and video.
Which is actually great. You guys went from that learning lesson, and now it's you purchase the product and you log in and it's online.
We're working with accountants, and those accounting firms are out of business. Now we have different accounting firms.
Yeah.
Same thing for attorneys. So just developing partners in the same way, like a Broadway musical. I was focusing so much on that because I've been researching a lot about it. We'll have alternate actors in case the main actor gets sick. You got to do the same thing in business for a business system because the show must go on.
You're prepping hard. You're going all in on tab. Plus, you're always setting up backups now.
But the biggest conversation at our most recent board meeting with Tyler was about how he's built himself as a figure, but he has to refocus on rebuilding his roles of responsibility to multiple other people. And he wants everyone who's an executive, especially myself, to focus on that. Our original focus when building this company was focusing on building an automated system that would grow and grind and then allow us to have more free time and freedom. So you look at something that isn't worth our time, we'll get other people to do it. Those tasks that a lot of people will do, like say checking their email. I don't even check my email. I'll have people do that. Grocery shopping.
Do you delegate? That's
when you have the money. If your time can justify it. So if I look at say my hourly wage, the amount of money I generate,
as well, right? You go through it. I do
so I mean, when we were first building our company, I had to look at how much I was getting paid. It was like $50 an hour, for example. At the time, several years ago. And I would look at something that would be, say, like moving furniture. If I have to pay the movers more than $50 an hour, it's not worth my time. At the time, movers, they might charge $100 an hour.
Okay.
The rental of the truck, the gear, what have you. So I'll be like, well, I'm going to move it myself for half the price. Right now, it's going to be taken away from the business. But after we'll look at a different job, let's say customer service. Well, that's more valuable than moving, but you'll pay customer service reps a lot less, maybe $15 to $25 an hour.
That's such a beautiful thing, leveraging that.
Yeah, so you get those people on board.
For me, I learned that like if someone can do what I'm doing 80% as well, gone. I try to focus specifically on where my strengths are, and for me that's on the phone and in person.
Yeah.
If I can get rid of the background noise, if I can automate some of the paperwork, some of the systems, some of the other phone calls, the setups, if I do that, it leaves me with so much more. I mean, I did that last year and it was incredible what a difference that made. All of a sudden, I have to do an extra 2 or 3 deals a year and I have over an extra week of free time.
Yeah, and if you look at free time, you always have a lot more free time than you think you do. I mean, I was talking to this guy who sells to entrepreneurs a $25,000 package that shows them how to become a higher level strategy coach and be able to take off 127 days out of the year. And people go, wow, that's insane. How can people do that? Well, actually, most people in America do that already. All that is weekends and holidays.
Right.
And he's selling this package to entrepreneurs, just work 9 to 5. Now, in the world, most entrepreneurs that are successful work way more than the average person. They shouldn't do that time off. You can do that, but your goal is to do that after you have enough people, you have that leverage, so that you could have all these people doing all these things. So now, like higher level things like building funnels and marketing campaigns and doing high-end technology. This is stuff that I also know how to do. But I'm not doing that because my net profit is higher and I could make more money leveraging. We did another half hour, so we should stop this and push record again. So let's see. I have a musical at 7:30, so I should leave at 7. What time is it?
It's almost 5.
Okay, yeah, we have time. All right. Okay.
All right.
Well,
back into it.
Yeah, I mean, one of my mentors, good friends, is Tony Shea from Zappos.com.
Yes.
And we were asking him various questions at his home for a mastermind session, and I was trying to figure out, because I read in his book that he's done things in the past, like on the phone and did customer service just to understand. I know that the President of Southwest has done that, and I haven't even done it myself. Right. I have done it as recently as last. But I asked if he's still doing that. He goes, no, I just try to figure out now what I need to do that leverages my time the most. And if you're a team leader, a managing kind, that's what you got to continually think all the time.
It's such an easy secret to life too. It sounds so simple. But if work that you're doing is making more money, if you're making $50 an hour and you can outsource certain aspects of it for 15, why wouldn't you do that?
It's comparative advantages. It's basic economics 101.
It's such beautiful leverage, and all of a sudden, now you have so much more time, and if you just put in a little bit more than you were before, it will not only pay for that, but much more beyond that, and then you can invest in yourself or in your business or in your family or your relationships.
Well, most things that you need to become a millionaire or a billionaire or to get success in life, you've heard before. It's just that you're not executing on it.
Not taking
actionable knowledge is applied knowledge.
Applied knowledge
is what Big Mike
what
says all the time. I mean, I did an interview with him and he said knowledge is bullshit. Applied knowledge is where it's at.
Yeah, my dad says that too. Yeah. That's hilarious.
So speed of execution is king. Field experience is king.
One of the things that you guys completely trump. Like you just destroy that. You guys take so much action as a team that you just can't. Like you're going to meet Grant Cardone and he talks about this a lot, the taking action. You're going to kick so many people's ass because they can't keep up to you. You're doing so much.
I mean, once you get a successful company, you've had to learn all the lessons. So whether you're running a successful $10 million company or a $10 billion company, you have a lot of commonalities with each other because you've gone through the same ropes. So it's not like most of the knowledge that's out there is going to be new. Most people join masterminds nowadays just to meet interesting people, have some friends and stories to share.
In a large sense of it as well.
Accountability helps a lot too. Some people forget that and they get off the path. Like trauma happens, your mindset gets off path. I think a lot of the help is the support network.
Awareness thing, I think, as well. For me, I try to set up certain accountability so that I'm doing certain actions so that my tank is high, because if it's not, then I can't give back to other people either.
Yeah.
Right? Another question that I had for you is, what are you going to do with the second half of your life?
Well, I'm planning to have kids within the year.
Okay, crazy, cool.
Yeah. And I'm also planning to, do much more development within RSD on these niches.
Right.
Create the music video.
Right.
And there's a lot of places in the world I haven't explored. I want to explore.
There's still some you haven't explored?
I mean, I've been to right now about 107, 108 countries.
Right.
And I think the UN recognizes 172 or something like that. And there's some of the places that I haven't been to that I'd like to go to is Fiji, which is a beautiful tropical paradise. Dubrovnik, which is where they have the Game of Thrones produced. Yeah. And also, I'd be interested in going to some of the crazy places that I haven't been to, like Antarctica. It's funny that you laugh because one person is probably thinking the same thing that you thought. No. He asked me the question,
okay,
what has to happen to somebody's life for them to want to actually go to Antarctica?
I'm curious as well, actually. What's going on? What's in Antarctica? What are you hoping to, is it something that you want to see as a whole?
Well, the thing is, you never know. That's what's up. So okay. I think that a lot of people think when they go to, say, a desert, they might expect it to be super hot. Mm-hmm. There's nothing but sand dunes. There's nothing there. Now, I've been to the Sahara. I've been to Egypt. I've been through the Middle East. I've been to, we're in the desert now. Hell, Los Angeles is even a desert. You'll never know what's going on until you're actually there. So I want to see what I'm missing. Now, if you talk to a lot of people who are just fans of USA, and they haven't really seen the rest of the world because they think everything is in the USA. Yeah. They're missing a lot of things that could be available in life. It's like, I remember some famous person wrote in a book, and that if you just live and visit one country in your life, it's like you've read half of the first chapter of a multi-chapter book. And there's so much you could learn about life, business, and yourself that's out there. A lot of people get down on themselves on life. They maybe get suicidal because trauma happens to them. And most of it happens just from awareness that there's something new or innovative out there. But I've met in even places like Costa Rica, I met a 15-year-old girl who ran away from home and started traveling around the world, and was traveling for 3 years and still had another 3 years to go to try to explore all the cities of the world for free. And what she was doing to do that was she's using websites on couch surfing and offering to cook food for them for free food, and offering to be a tour guide or teach people English for free transportation between cities. Now, if a 15-year-old girl could do this, I know that an adult could do this. A lot of people are always complaining about how much money and resources they have. I traveled that world tour. Yeah. I was spending very little money. Now, I don't know if it's a lot of money for other people, but I spent an average $2,700 a month. And that was to travel over 6 months to 270 cities using the RSD, Facebook groups, and email lists to be volunteers to the couch surf, to crash with people and get people to volunteer to drive me for the whole month to different places, or pay $500 and get a first class Euro past 21 countries, but actually go to all 21 countries. So things like that.
That's so cool. That's
are
possible.
Available to anybody. It's just that you have to think outside the box. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people will be told, this is the way it is. A lot of people like speaking in kind of ultimate conversation as if there's no other options. Yeah. One example is I had a vet, and they diagnosed with my cat with this fatal disease. And even I got diagnosed with the fatal disease. I didn't even have it. My cat did have it and said, okay, we should put your cat to sleep. It's going to die in 5 days. It's been 5 months. My cat's still alive. I got him in a clinical trial, and they cured. There's always those impossibles that you could solve. That's possible.
What was yours?
Cancer. I didn't even have cancer, but a radiologist said I did.
Right.
And then they prescribed me steroids that would give you the cancer. Mm-hmm. The same cancer that they're trying to say I had.
Right. So I have my views on cancer as well, and they're totally not at all what societies are. If you got cancer today, would that affect you in any way? Do you think?
Of course. Affect my health.
So here's my perspective on it. So
but I mean, I think that
cancer could cure.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's a lot of people. I don't know much about medicine yet. We should study more about medicine.
Right.
I mean, if we're going to create a fitness company, I need to know a little bit more about medicine. So I don't know much about cancer. I do know that we've cured everything from HIV to AIDS. Mm-hmm. So I mean, cancer is likely to be next in the list. I mean, if we could cure, everything's rapidly developing. We went to a seminar with this guy who spoke about that. He believes that everyone's going to live to an average of 100 who's in our generation. He wrote a book called Live Long Enough to Live Forever. And he created this thing called Singularity, and the Singularity Institute, I think, was about his philosophies. And it was a famous book, but he believes that science is evolving at such an exponential rate that you will have that. Learning is the same, and technology is the main center of all that. I like video games, so I played this game called Deus Ex. It's about how people get bionic arms and parts and could live for a much longer period of time, from brains to hearts.
Yeah, imagine what it'll be in 10, 15, 20 years. It's crazy.
Movies like Black Mirror, where people have all sorts of crazy technology. I believe that this stuff is actualizing. We just got this speech, sold his company for several $1 and became a famous futurist. Guy predicts the future based on technology. He did a video on Tyler's channel and Julian's channel. His name is Jason. He's supposed to do one for me also, but he didn't do it. It's kind of interesting he did for their channels. It's about business and predicting people of success. And he believes that going to drive a car in the future. I believe it's possible to have a Tesla. And Tesla is going to have automated driving after to have the proven 30 million miles, get it field tested and then approved by the government.
Man, I admire that man's vision. Elon Musk, holy cow.
Yeah, this house is a Tesla house. We have solar panels on this from Solar City.
Right.
You know, I got a supercharging station in my garage for my Tesla Model S fully loaded.
Tell me about that roof. So I think I was reading somewhere that he was trying to make the panels to be more affordable.
Yeah,
than
so they could pay for everything and even get you electricity money back, like electric credits, what have you. I also have a solar panel farm in the back of my Sacramento house. Got like an acre of land back there.
What do you mean by solar panel farm? Like I can see the
like many solar panels that build electricity for the city and your house, etc.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's going to be a whole different world in a couple of years. I'm really excited to see what he with that and SpaceX.
Yeah, it's a very cool company. I have many friends that have been involved with what he's doing and in SpaceX, and I also have learned a lot about Tesla. I did a tour of Tesla's manufacturing plant from the director of manufacturing. He has like thousands of people below him, and he gave me a tour of the Model X before. I thought it was pretty cool. Concept car.
That's a really cool thing to experience behind the scenes. Yeah,
I love doing that. I have some behind the scenes tours of offices that we edited and rendered and posted on my channel too. I think it's kind of cool to share that kind of stuff.
Like RSD offices or other offices that you're...
Both.
Okay. So what do you look for when you're to those offices and your structure and the layout and the way that things are going and how to optimize it?
Yeah, and I also learn about what they're doing, how they manage their teams, putting it where. It's kind of cool to see someone's home, learn more about their life, learn someone's business from being in their office.
The structure of it all.
Yeah.
Neat. Okay, let me throw another one at you.
I have a video tour of our Vegas Immersion offices to attach to the strip club. And also we do videos all the time at our offices at that mansion, the Hollywood Hills. And we also do stuff here. I mean, we're in my house now in Vegas.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. And you have the other one in LA as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to get another one. We're partnering with the NBA to get some office space here in Vegas too. It'll be kind of cool.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Another question that I want to ask you is ROC collisions. You talked about that on Founders Club. Can you expand on that a little bit?
So the concept is return on collisions or return on community.
Right, instead of ROI, which is the return on the investment.
And the thing is, when you do that, you build a community of a movement, people behind this mission and vision together. They're able to accomplish so much. They're able to grow. And that community will eventually come back to you. It's like offering value to people, just having that mindset. That value comes back to you in spades. I mean, if you look at what we did in RSD, you have a community of loyal people. We're offering tons of value, not expecting anything back. But it happened. And it happens to everyone. I mean, Zappos did it with downtown, and also Tony did it through the downtown project, which was we bought like the majority of the land downtown Vegas, and all the businesses that he's inspired, built, or invested in on it. He did it not in expectation that any of them were going to make a profit.
Right.
But it would build this community. And therefore that community turned into a situation where that real estate's worth much more than any failures of any of those businesses.
Yeah.
That community has added that value to downtown Vegas from a slum to a thriving community, like a metropolitan, like any other.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
No, it's very cool.
Yeah. Many people have tried to do that and failed, and he's the first to be successful.
So Tony is one of the guys that originally started buying land in Vegas, is that?
Yeah, so he created that concept of ROC. It's a concept I talk about all the time. It's something that's inspired RSD all the time. But yeah, I hang out at his home quite frequently. And he has a pretty cool music jam that happens at his place all the time.
Every time that you talk about anything music related right now, like you light up.
Yeah, it's a passion of mine right now. It's kind of fun. I never thought I'd be in that. I used to live in Project Hollywood Mansion. I had in my closet of my bathroom the CEO of what is now Hip Hop, the largest online hip hop magazine, the best one in the world. And I also have all sorts of really interesting music contacts.
What did you learn any instruments as a kid? What was that like?
Yeah, guitar, violin, piano. I was in an orchestra.
In orchestras?
Yeah.
Wow. I learned piano. I suck at it.
Yeah.
But that's because when I did it, it was forced upon me so much. I wasn't even forced as a weekly piano lesson, right? But I was just so not into it. I was going through my own little teenage retard struggles.
Yeah.
Like, that was not for me. I hated it. I would say that I was doing piano lessons and like just brutal. Now, when I'm in a good space, I'll often come back, sit on the piano, and just play something from my mind. And it's so interesting how my dad told me, like, I'm not teaching you piano to teach you piano. I'm teaching piano because it builds character.
Well, work ethic
so
to anything.
true.
That mastery process to master any skill.
Yeah.
Even walking is a skill. Everyone's mastered that one. But I mean, things like complex things, like I picked up golf as like an analogy for mastery. I put way more hours than most people would just because
You really enjoy that now?
it's a fun thing. And then also, sometimes it's very challenging, especially here in Vegas where the weather could be very bad.
You're not going to be playing too much when the heat is that bad.
Or cold is really bad too.
Yeah.
But I do travel a lot. Yeah, and so I have a lot of opportunity and access to a lot of different places.
Okay, cool. I love it. One more question here. Who are trusted advisors and what books are you reading right now?
Well, our board, we kind of advise each other. So the most trusted people are people on my board of directors, guys like Tyler. He knows a lot about pickup, but he also knows a lot about business. He's been hustling since he was a kid. But I mean, I'm very open to the people that are closest to me. And my advisory board has continually changed the various years. You know, I've had people on my board that you'll like on my YouTube channel. One of them is a guy named Dean Royce who has a recruiting company, and I have a video that's going to come out with him in the future on my YouTube channel as well.
Okay.
Other people are people who are just local friends of mine. Like my wife or my other friends would be local advisors, but the official, like people who come to board meetings, those are the people that I trust. People that have maybe made tons of money in real estate or have tech companies or have a special kind of skill set at the time that I'll bring there because they've proven themselves.
Right.
I mean, people that have attended my board meetings is everyone from Rob Pardo, the creator of World of Warcraft, who's the executive vice president of Blizzard, which is a multi-billion-dollar video game company. And I play a lot of their games because he got me addicted to get his games. He just gave them to me for free. Yeah. One of the perks of having him on the board as an advisor. To guys like Tony Shea, who's come to our board meetings and given us advice how to build our company. We have tons of CEOs from companies, CEOs of nutrition products, CEOs of games and gaming, video game companies. A lot of these people, though, you'll see in my YouTube channel. People that are in mastermind groups are also on my channel. People who have multi-billion-dollar sales of technology or sold their companies, tech companies.
Yeah.
These are the same people that, even though, I'm interviewing them, a reporter interviews somebody, they may get like a 15-minute to a 1-hour interview for the same thing. But the people that I'm interviewing, I've known these guys, some of them for decades, some of them for, months. But I mean, I'm not just interviewing them as if that's my only time talking to them, like most reporters.
Yeah.
These are people that I know pretty well, and I still need to know them better. And those questions I'm doing in my interviews, it's not like I've prepared a lot of it. It's just really just what's on my mind, because when I talk to somebody, I have so many things I could talk to them about, especially if they're of kind of caliber of the people I'm interviewing. These are people that are the most famous business minds of our age. So, I mean, if you have access to that, you'll probably have an unlimited amount of things to talk to them about as well.
That's just it. That's one of the perks of learning this and meeting so many people and going through so many experiences. You can just sit down and talk.
Yeah, I mean, if you're with,
Tyler's
say...
gift of gab is out of this world.
Tyler is beyond that. I mean, I remember when I first got to know Tyler, we were living together. I was asking him because I didn't know he could do that, especially just do it on a public speaking level. And he said that his mind was like Star Wars, the intro, where you have the words coming out and you haven't said it, but you see it on the screen and slowly coming out.
Interesting analogy.
So I asked him at the board meeting recently if he still thinks like that.
Yeah.
He says, well, now it's just too much time.
That's such a beautiful way to stand there and just talk. And it's like in a seminar room, right? So it's not necessarily with response and feedback that much.
Well,
you can just...
Yeah, he has that unique skill set that everyone wishes they had, which is to absorb knowledge, internalize it almost instantaneously, and then apply it to your life, and then explain it even better than the person that was teaching you that concept.
No, that's out of
He's like, oh, I know what he meant. He meant this.
He'll dig
And
it
then
down
he
on so many
breaks it down.
different levels.
Because he has life experience and he makes it the cross-communication, interconnected kind of like cross-references turns into like new ideas and just spurs new ideas.
Do you still get nervous if you talk in front of people?
Not really.
Not anymore? You don't,
No.
You don't think about it? Were you as a kid?
Yeah. Even when I was in my MBA program doing speeches, I was really nervous. I would stutter, shake. My voice might crack.
I can relate.
I mean, we'd be on camera. We'd be seen by thousands of people. I mean, I've been on reality shows that have been seen by millions of people. I got married on one.
I was reading, I think that was in Founders, or I was reading that, I don't recall.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then, you have millions of people watching you. It's like, okay, I'm public speaking, but I'm public speaking all day long for days.
It just becomes normal. That's not even something you think about or internalize. You just...
But at that point, you don't have any other option. It's like,
No.
why? What's there to be scared of? I'm just doing it.
One of the things that I did back in the day for me, because this whole public speaking thing, even this eye contact thing, was not something that I could do, period. It wasn't even something that I could fathom. One that I had to do for myself is when I did get up and speak in front of a group, I would stand there and I would look out at the crowd and make eye contact and force myself to be silent and for the awkwardness and the tension and the adrenaline to build up. I would stand there, make it intentionally difficult for me as an exercise in the beginning, and then I would do it. And now, so it's a lot easier. Now you just go up, you talk. But when you force yourself under such a different pressure, everything becomes easier. And you've done it so many different times in so many different ways that now it's like, it's not even something that you think about. Like I was asking my wife, what do you guys do to prepare? She's like, I sit down, I go, right? Like that's all that it is at this point.
Yeah, I think that we have a lot of ideas to share. The concern that I had in order to create the channel was more just trying to figure out what people would want to hear and what would help them the most.
Now, question for you. So in my business, I'm trying to grow this and take this on a team environment, right? So I'm going to be growing a team and I want to dominate a certain sector or town in. How would you start something like that?
The people that are already doing it in your town have a network. Tap into it, become friends with them and find out how they did it. Replicate the process and improve upon it. And just do it for your niche. I mean, influencers in Vegas, I mean, pretty much any city you move to, that first year you're in that city, you're kind of, then there's a point where you kind of hit that momentum and it just goes. It's like when you're in pickup, you're approaching, you get that social momentum, you just free flow, you warm up and anything. Same thing goes with the network that you're trying to build in order to build a business that you need. If you're building a geo-targeted business especially, I mean, we did it by using the internet.
Yeah.
We had Facebook groups and we hold local events. Local events is always a great way. There's always free venues where you can just meet people that you want to meet, reach out to them, invite out for drinks or lunch or something cheap or just to hang out, share ideas and people they might want to meet. Grow from there. Do that where there's customers or people that would be potential employees, potential partners.
Right.
Sell that first product, get that money in, and then sell another one and just keep doing it again and again.
One of the things that I'm working on right now, fun little fact, most real estate agents suck at marketing. It just is. If you run around the town and you look at it, it's always the same style of marketing, right? You see that everywhere. Like the big bus bench and it'll say like, list with me, or it's always along the same, there's nothing that grabs and that hooks or anything like that.
Well, my wife is actually trying to defeat that. She has drone videos, 4K videos, Ronins, and all the crazy that RSD has.
What is that?
It's like the Steadicam like device that you hold and it balances it no matter how. You see that on, you see the Super Bowl or any other like videos, you see them like coming down lines and they're controlled.
That's what she does.
You can also control them with your hands.
Yeah.
We have access to all that. So it's that for real estate agents. And then what she does is markets the videos. 360 tours.
Yeah,
you could use the device that captures every room. Yeah. And you have a 360 room, you can walk through it, push the buttons like a video game.
Less about that because it seems she's really, really good at the video.
And you can also attach your name to it. I mean, what we do as personalities. Now we show our product and service, attach personality, combine them to do together.
Like you're doing like a personal video with the real estate agent as well.
Showing some of the stuff and marketed your properties.
Right. We don't get that. Yeah. Back home, small town, doesn't really happen. Like you will not get a video production with an agent walking through and sharing. Like it's not like that at all.
Well, you could also talk with even a backdrop and then just show the houses so you're not blocking stuff in the house. That's how I would do it.
Okay.
I would do it where I had a cool backdrop in my office or me just my voice talking while the house is being shown and going back to me.
Back to the listing.
Yeah, I would do that. But making it known that this is the kind of quality that you produce and being known as that guy, brand it that way, and then push things forward.
Yeah, that's another.
That's what I would watch.
I was thinking billboards at one point, and I'm like everything's online.
Just look at what people do even now for watching on Netflix or iTunes. All the real estate show, people just liking nice houses. If you're known for just doing these kind of videos, even for houses that are not nice, and you can still make it look nice, and also do things in a very unique way, people will start following you. You go on the internet. Or if you have it on websites like Zillow, I'm fascinated by real personally. I'm not even in the market to buy a house. I still look at Zillow.com on a regular basis to see the fun houses and various price points to see what's out there, just for fun.
Okay.
And I mean, my wife does that also professionally. Network with other agents too.
That's a really great idea. For that, networking with the other agents, the top agents, the ones that are doing really well. And then what you're saying is to combine the standard marketing with doing something extra, like walking in.
Yeah, and homeowners.
Or tour.
Yeah, and also with people
including the homeowners.
Yeah, I mean, even the VRBO people that are renting their house.
Yeah.
Many of them want to sell the place. Real estate agent approaches them to sell it.
Yeah. Then
they'll probably get a contact and potentially an offer because, I mean, I've had guys who contacted and my wife for properties like, hey, you want a couple $100,000 for this condo? And I wasn't even thinking about selling it. But we were thinking about renting it, and we were renting it.
Okay.
So we had like listings. But I mean, a lot of people who are just renting their properties that they own, if someone offer them money, say, hey, I bet I could get you this much money, XYZ money for it. Do you want to be a client? Bam, they have something.
What I was thinking is like, that's a really great idea on differentiating through the value and the quality that you bring through that kind of aspect of marketing. So thinking, how do you do it through online, through like a catchy way or a different way? You know what I mean?
What I would do is I would captivate. So basically, we talked about differentiating yourself. The first step though is just finding where the need is and going after those people, because it doesn't even matter how catchy you are if you're filling that need. Everyone needs money, so if they're renting the place, if you're say, hey, I can rent the place out or do it for you better. And here's some of the ways I've done that. You show in your portfolio the videos and the stuff that you have utilized as tools, you have networks and access to that kind of stuff. And that can get done.
I've gotten so far away from that. Honestly, I've gotten so far away from that. And the reason is it's been built up and now it's referrals.
Yeah, I mean, you could even just close the deals through contacting people. Like look at Airbnb, look at VRBO, look at HomeAway, look at Craigslist, look at Backpage. All those guys are potential clients. You just call them, get them on the phone, bam, you have a cut of whatever they're selling. Let's do it again and again and again. You just need to build now a sales team.
And if I wanted to go from what I'm doing now to go
that's what I would do.
Exclusively like a higher end in a farming community.
I would do that for the higher end places. I mean, look at the rental websites. Contact, sort, highest price rentals per rent.
Right.
And say, hey, I see you're renting this place yourself, because you can see VRBO is virtually, it's by owner. That's real estate being rented by owners. Contact the owners directly.
So you're talking about seeing the rentals and then calling the owners up directly and asking them if they want to sell them.
Get access to them. Do you do that?
Okay.
You can do it through country clubs. The video stuff, you can hire my wife, use our gear. You could do this in any city, but I mean, if your city doesn't have as many high-end properties,
yeah,
you're licensed to expand to other areas.
That's true.
But start with your area first. Develop relationships also with local photographers and videographers, agents, people that help you.
No. Yeah. Would you expand into, like, if you were me and you wanted to have not only an online presence, and I'm studying the Ty Lopez social media agency right now. So I'm going through that. If you wanted to would you still do both? Would you still do something like billiards, bus benches, anything like that? Like your business is... I wouldn't,
but I mean, I would use more like Facebook. I mean, there's a lot of people that are looking up discussion boards about how to sell their house.
Super underutilized.
How to rent their house, real estate discussions. I mean, that's a way easier and more profitable way to do it than billboards or park benches, where you just get to know their face. And you're like, oh, angry looking woman that looks way too serious, but I don't know anything else about her. And that's what you get from a billboard.
Right.
Maybe you might know she's a real estate agent or a tax attorney or whatever from a billboard. But who cares? If you want to be known, you put yourself out there online, develop the social media. Maybe create an Instagram of the properties that you've sold.
Right.
Facebook, YouTube. If you want to get a following, maybe even host events, wine and cheeses, to various communities of people.
I used to do that a lot more, actually.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, now I know that we're at 90 minutes. Unless his battery's dead. Yeah, his battery's dead.
So we got this one left?
Yeah, we should probably wrap it up, man.
All right.
I'll just get close to you because I'm not sure if we're using my mic now or your mic.
Give me 2 seconds here. There's something else that I wanted to cover.
Okay. Well, we'll just do it hot seat style. We'll just have one camera and...
Yeah, and the fade out?
And then, we're capturing the girl's voice, not knowing how well it's being captured.
One last thing that I was going to ask you, and it was in regards to what you're currently reading.
Okay.
You're not reading all that much. That's not like what you used to before, right?
Right. Yeah, we're good. We have 80.
Let's change it to this. What is one
Wait, hold
book?
on a sec. Ask again.
Sorry. What is one book that you think was absolutely crucial for you that you think other people should read?
It's actually a book that probably would have helped you a lot when you're in the wrong mindset. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Have you read it?
Yes, I love it.
I love the idea of being principled centered. And it kind of got me away from being just studies centered or work centered or money centered or party life centered and fun centered. I've been through all those centered, but being principle centered is the best way to do things. And it allows you to focus on values and everything else falls into place.
I love that. Awesome.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot. It's been a really fun interview.
Good. I appreciate it.
Cheers.
This was great.
And if you have any questions, write them below. I'd love to have your comments, your feedback. If you have any interesting ideas, if you want to actually be here interviewing me, post that as well. If you're willing to fly down to Las Vegas and you're a business owner and you want to be a part of this, please contact me. Let me know as well. Cheers.